Hi there, my name is Sarah Gustafson, and I will be presenting the findings from my survey research regarding online learning at the University of Washington. First, I will talk about the goals and context of this particular research study. The purpose of this research is to understand how students at the University of Washington are becoming acquainted with online learning and draw conclusions on how to improve their experiences. Throughout this research project, I have been refining its purpose while also establishing the design question. How can students' interactions, both technical and interpersonal, improve their online learning experience at UW? Though, before I get into my survey research, I will discuss how my prior research has informed my findings up until this point. I began my investigation into online learning at UW with field research. Observing different online classrooms of varying teaching methods, I uncovered some significant findings. I found a lack of student participation in live class sessions, plenty of technical challenges with the platform Zoom, and instances of student multitasking during specific classwork time. My field research findings informed how I proceeded with my interviews, which I conducted with 3 undergraduate students of varying disciplines from UW. My interviews validated my field research while also providing new insight into the online learning experience. I found a lacking technological infrastructure, an appreciation for some aspects of online education, and lastly, a need for participants to navigate the culture of online learning. Though I had the opportunity to identify crucial findings and opportunities to improve the online learning experience, I plan to survey research to confirm, elaborate, and extend my prior knowledge. In terms of the logistics of my survey research, I gathered information from 18 participants who are UW students and who are currently enrolled in online courses. Specifically, I surveyed 2 first-year students, 4 second-year students, 8 third-year students, 3 fourth-year students, and 1 graduate student. Obtaining information from this vast array of students provides me the chance to see if there are common experiences in online learning at UW. Additionally, these students reported neutral to satisfactory access to online learning technology. I conducted my survey online through Google Forms and asked about the overall experience of online learning, as well as pain points and opportunities for improvement. This line of questioning helped me gain general knowledge of the interactions students have with their other online education participants, as well as their technology. Lastly, it is important to note that I am a third-year student, and that could explain the larger amount of third-year student participants. Bias is also introduced into this research as I used convenient sampling as a means to get respondents. Despite the potential bias, I was able to decipher some interesting results from the survey and establish some recommendations to employ these findings. My first result, and probably the most notable result, is that students across the board are dissatisfied with online learning at UW. This notion has been apparent through all phases of the research project. Thus, this result confirms prior research. It also elaborates on the general sentiment and emotion felt toward the student learning experience. This result also extends the unique experiences I learned from interviews and applies them to a larger student population. My survey data shows an obvious preference for in-person classes, indicated by 100% of the respondents rating them as their first choice. These data quite strikingly present a clear distaste for online class, as they were also given the option to choose NA as to respond with no preference. Knowing that not one respondent chose online class over in-person class demonstrates the dire need for UW to improve their online learning methods if this continues into the 2020 autumn quarter. Next, I surveyed students on what experiences they have had during their online courses. I asked the question in this way to elaborate on previous findings from interviews about the common experiences of students during online learning. This then allowed me to comprehend these sentiments about interactions with technology and instructors, and allowed me to assess the specific pain points of the students, one of which has become very clear, and that is the technical challenges with online education. 89% of the respondents indicated that they and their instructors have experienced technical difficulties. Then, most of the respondents reported that these technical challenges have delayed their classes. Notably, all of these sentiments seem to ring true amongst all of the respondents, as no one responded none of the above. Seeing as there are common experiences across students of varying class standing and technology access, it is imperative for UW to find ways to diminish these technical pain points. Withal, technical challenges are frustrating for all online learning participants and demonstrate a clear disconnect between technology and people. For this result, I recommend that UW urge their instructors to survey their students, course evaluation surveys, etc., to understand specifically where they may improve their online teaching methods. This participatory design approach will allow students to feel heard and allow instructors to empower themselves and their students in their classrooms. The next result is inspired by my interview research, and that is that students appreciate some certain aspects of online learning technology. This, as previously mentioned, confirms my interview results and elaborates on the specific features that could be leveraged by instructors. Lastly, this result extends the understanding of technology to focus on enhancing the student experience directly. About half of the students reported that there are aspects of online learning technology that they enjoy. These data imply that there are opportunities for online learning to be leveraged in order to support online education and create an experience more conducive to learning. It's important to note that there are not as many respondents confirming positive experiences with technology because they might have not had the time or knowledge to explore the technology as much as others. More ubiquitous exposure to these positive, experience-enhancing features would nonetheless make online education more enjoyable for all participants. In particular, the open-ended question regarding positive aspects of technology indicates some features that could be employed to facilitate learning. For example, one respondent likes the chat feature so that they don't have to verbally speak up in front of the whole class. Another student says that their anxieties have lessened with online learning. Others report greater access and attendance to online office hours. And of course, the short commute to class is a plus for many respondents. For this result, I recommend that students share the features of online learning technology that they enjoy so that UW and their instructors can provide them with a more successful and empathetic learning experience. My final result from the survey is that students lack motivation and focus to complete online learning successfully. This finding again confirms my prior results from field research and interviews. It also elaborates on the reason for lacking student engagement and extends student experience to educators, emphasizing the need to engage in empathetic teaching practices. This research began with the curiosity of why students do not engage as much as instructors would like during virtual lectures. A possibility could be that students do not want to interrupt the person who is speaking. 77% of respondents indicated that this is a possible reason for their lacking participation. These data indicate that there must be a system in place for students to feel comfortable and confident in participating in class. Another glaring aspect of this research are distractions that students face during online classes. Astoundingly, 100% of the respondents noted that they are often distracted during virtual lectures. This finding is obviously a large problem of online learning and must be addressed if UW continues with this in the fall. Instructors can possibly mediate this lack of focus by engaging the students more than they would in person, or maybe by providing more short breaks during long lectures. Overall, though, these data clearly show that online learning currently is not conducive to student success. Lastly, motivation has been rather interesting to learn about throughout this research. I found that 72% of respondents are most motivated by assignment deadlines, meaning that there are not many other motivators present for them to complete schoolwork. This lack of motivation could also be playing a role in lacking student engagement during class sessions. These data are absolutely vital for instructors to understand. Instructors during online learning must be accommodating for students with regard to due dates. Mental health ties into this finding and requires further research, but nonetheless should be considered by instructors at this time. My recommendation for this finding is perhaps the most important. I believe that instructors must understand and empathize with students as well as center their mental health. Instructors need to be vocal and check in with their students. They should also be flexible with deadlines and make it clear that they care about how their students are doing. During online learning, it is important to also recognize that students are humans and connecting with them on a personal level could benefit the learning environment. Now I'll move on to next steps. If I were to continue this research, I would conduct interviews with instructors to understand how they experienced online learning. I would also determine how to deliver my recommendations to UW. Finally, I would devise a plan for both instructors and students in navigating the future of online education. To wrap it up, I'll speak on my reflections on this survey project. For my next survey project, I plan on reaching out to a broader survey group to reduce biased data. Additionally, I didn't have time to develop complex data visualization, and I think delving deeper into that could help my next research project. I was surprised that I got a good amount of responses in a couple of days and that people actually gave valuable responses to the open-ended questions. I thought creating the survey was quite enjoyable, and I also had fun reading through all of the data. Thanks for tuning in, and I hope you learned something new.